No matter what color you are, we are all Kyle Rittenhouse.
Who wants to be king?
Welcome to the War Room, men. What I want to talk today about is something that's pretty much sweeping the nation. And if you haven't heard about this, you've either been in a coma or you've been living under a bridge somewhere with absolutely no internet service. And that's the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Now, I watched a video this morning of a pretty popular black YouTuber that's, he tries to do good work, but a lot of his content is filled with the divisiveness and the us against them rhetoric and narrative that is really one of the most divisive wedges used in our culture. And as I listened to him talk, his ignorance of the law and how anybody that has an SBR, short barrel rifle, is in violation of federal law. And some states allow people to carry rifles. That's the simple law. It doesn't say white people, it doesn't say black people, but because of this victim narrative, because of the constant pulling off the scabs of American history, this is once again being pushed and propagated. And because of this YouTube, popularity thing, you got so many people with ignorant voices trying to convince a lot of people, and some of them have thousands, sometimes tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of people listening to them. And the problem with this, viewing this case as some sort of racial thing, it's absolutely beyond ignorant, because the people who got smoked were the same color as Mr. Rittenhouse, which is not black. And I had a discourse with one of my buddies this morning. I made a comment that this case was a real prime example of how America's completely fucked. Because in spite of there being no evidence, no proof that this kid did anything wrong, as a matter of fact, he what he did was well within his rights to protect himself. And anybody would have done the same. It's easy to say, man, he shouldn't have been there, he shouldn't have done that. But I argue that you don't know what you would do in a situation like that if it was in your own neighborhood, if it was something that you believed in, and if you honestly can say that you wouldn't put yourself in harm's way to protect what you valued, what you believed in, then I would call you a coward, because that's exactly what a coward is. That's what they want. They want men to be weak, spineless cowards. When I hear people of color try to make this into a racial thing and take it from these guys getting shot, and talk about this kid not supposed to be being there and all this stuff, nobody wants to talk about the criminals that were destroying Kenosha. Nobody wants to talk about that. Those people were there on a bold-faced lie that was propagated across the media, that this Blake dude was some sort of way an innocent dude, when he was actually a woman-beating, child-abusing punk that pulled a knife on the cops. And nobody likes to deal with those truths. It's always more convenient when you can go from the point of comfort and say, you know what, I've been wronged, I'm a victim, that's the bad guy over there. But on this channel, we're all about accountability. We're all about peeling the onion all the way back. And the truth of the matter is, it's true. Kyle Rittenhouse shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have had to be there. Those people that were destroying that city shouldn't have been there, and they shouldn't have been allowed to be there. And what these citizens did, those who took up arms, those who went and tried to protect the buildings, those who did the job that the police were told to stand down from doing, they're somehow demonized. When I would argue that almost 99% of the so-called men would do the same thing if a group of thugs came into their neighborhood and tried to destroy their shit, or came into their mother's or their grandmother's neighborhood. But it's always easier to look at something when it's those people over there, when it's happening to them. It's way easier to be a victim and to take part in this and to just be a part of this whole circus when you don't have anything, when you have no ambition, when you don't own anything, and you have no drive to actually get it, when you've grown up believing in this narrative that the evil white man is keeping you down. And there seems to be, no lack of dummies who want to continue to reverberate this stuff, from the dumbest people on the streets all the way up to your Joy Reids and your or Corey Reed, whatever that clown's name is, that wants to make everything about racism. The biggest racism that goes unchecked, and this is the thing that my buddy and I, when we were talking about the situation this morning, he was saying that if it was him and he did the same thing that Rittenhouse did, that and then he put this emoji, this grabbing my head emoji, like, oh my God. And this is my argument, and this is a problem that goes untouched and unfixed, and this is why this whole thing will continue to perpetuate itself. The truth of the matter is, my friend that I was talking to is a black man, and the truth of the matter is, if the roles were exactly as they were with Kyle Rittenhouse, the news would have never even picked up that story. If a black man running from 3 other black men who were trying to do bodily harm to him, and there were videos of him actually doing bodily harm to him, and this man shot those dudes, there would be no peep in the news whatsoever, because that doesn't fit the narrative. And that's the problem that the black community should be really trying to address, instead of trying to make everything the white man's fault, everything the white man's problem. What my question is what happened if we've got all this systemic violence towards black men and all of this stuff that justified those riots that we dealt with all last year? Why'd they just stop? If it's systemic and it's out of control, why did it just stop? And a better question yet is, since we're going to press this, since we're going to press this issue about the importance of black lives, why are the only shots being fired on a consistent basis that have never stopped, that have never even ceased one bit, are blacks killing blacks? Look at Chicago. Every weekend they're setting new records. All over this country, that's an epidemic that goes untalked about, because those willful idiots believe the narrative that their plight in life is somehow the white man's fault. Kyle Rittenhouse is 100% innocent in this case. He defended himself. And anybody who thinks that this is about race, this is about white supremacy, the white man gets to go, if you hold that belief system, then you need to keep that same energy when it's you that's on trial for defending yourself. Because the truth about this case, the truth about the point they're trying to drive home, is when the mob comes for your shit, you're to submit. You're to roll over and let them do as they wish, do as they see fit with you. This is all more programming to get you conditioned to do exactly what they want you to do. And they want to crucify this white dude to let everybody else know that if you defend yourself, this will be your fate. The best thing that we could do as a society is band together on this, regardless of color. This kid is innocent. The people who gunned down Ahmaud Arbery are guilty. We need to collectively get together behind these two things and stop this system of divisiveness. Otherwise, they will continue to use the puppets to do their dirty work until the war starts. What side of this do you want to be on? Out. No matter what color you are, we are all Kyle Rittenhouse.